So basically, that means that a corporation is an entity itself. So is an S corp, and it pays out to its shareholders. It distributes profits to shareholders. Now, one way we really should all be setting up our corporations is it's not the same, but one way we should be setting up our corporations is by, of course, getting a payroll and a payroll company. Like, what's a payroll company? What's that payroll? I forgot. It's on the tip of my tongue. But if you set yourself up with a payroll company, instead of just, saying that, once you have your articles of incorporation, whatever other business paperwork, like business license that you need to operate your business, that's not all that that's not a complete business setup. You want your business to run as if like you were going to have a resume and sign up for someone else's business. Just like if you were going to work for Walmart. Once you start working for Walmart, you give them your W-9 and everything like that, and then they start giving you a paycheck. You're on payroll as an employee, and they give you a paycheck. However you can set it up like that, you want to set it up because now you're able to kind of function as you would in society, and it's easier to function that way, depending on your situation. But what I'm trying to say is you want to totally make the separation between you and the business entity. You don't want to work in your business, you want to work on your business. So the profit of a corporation is taxed to the corporation when earned, and then it's taxed to shareholders when distributed as dividends. This creates a double tax. The corporation does not get a tax deduction when it distributes dividends to shareholders. Shareholders cannot deduct any loss of the corporation. If you are a C corporation, use the information in the chart below to help you determine some of the forms that you may be required to file. Corporations that have assets of 10 million or more file at least 250 returns annually are required to electronically file their forms 1120 and 1120S for the tax years ending on or after December 31st, 2007. So all this information I will be like compiling in kind of every session that we do one of these. Next session, I believe we're talking about government contracting. I'll compile a PDF or one pager, not too much information that's going to be overwhelming, and I will be giving this out to people that are interested as far as when it comes to starting a business. If you don't already have a business, if you're interested in having these forms, you'll have them. So for a partnership is a relationship between two or more people to do a trade or business. Each person contributes money, property, a labor or skill, and shares in the profits and losses of the business. Reporting of partnership income. A partnership must file an annual information return to report the income, deductions, gains, losses, etc. from its operations. But it does not pay income tax. Instead, it passes through profits or losses to its partners. Each partner reports their share of the partnership income or loss on their personal tax return. Partners are not employees and shouldn't be issued a Form W-2. The partnership must furnish copies of a Schedule K-1, which is a Form 1065, to the partner. For deadlines, you can see about Form 1065 or U.S. Return of Partnership Income. Does anyone have any questions I should ask? Anyone have any questions? I know that this can sometimes seem like a little boring, but it's really actually important information when it comes to starting a company and how you want to get everything rolling, especially when you start from here and when you talk about business credit. But we'll talk about that in a second. So a sole proprietor this is the last type of business, the fifth business. A sole proprietor is someone who owns an unincorporated business by himself or herself. However, if you're the sole member of a domestic limited liability company, you are not a sole proprietor. If you elect to treat the LLC as a corporation. If you are a sole proprietor, use the information in the chart below. That will help you determine some of the forms you may be used to require. So, sole proprietor is kind of just like an LLC. It doesn't really have too much protection because, of course, once again, you're putting yourself out there with your social security number. That's going to be, I believe, like the thing that most companies ask for, and because you're identified, your entity is identified as a sole proprietorship, you'll be held liable for what happens with the sole proprietorship. Now, as far as when it comes to liability, one thing that I would suggest, one thing that I've been using for the last couple of years, I believe since I started my company in 2019, is his Cox Business Insurance. His Cox Business Insurance is a reputable small business insurance, very affordable. $75 a month will get you $2 million in coverage. Either $75 a month or $365 a year. But that will cover up to $2 million for anything that happens with your business. They cover any theft of business property, any damage of business property if your office burns down, or if something happens to your company car, as long as it's under, it's registered under your company. They will provide you, say someone said that you caused them harm, or you tried to, do some type of something. If, say, you had a business dispute, any type of business dispute with a person, his Cox Business Insurance will either give you the money to get your own attorney or provide an attorney for you, even if it was your fault. So that's a good resource right there to kind of have under your hat as far as when it comes to liability purposes, especially if you're going to be a sole proprietor or if you're going to have an LLC.
Excuse me, can you what that resource was? I got a call and I blanked, but I just was curious what resource you're talking about.
His Cox Business Insurance, HISCOX Business Insurance, or you can go to hiscox.com.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. You can customize exactly what you need as far as, what fits your business needs, and they will give you a quote. Very affordable, very affordable. So I say all this stuff to say the next thing that we're going to be getting into is business credit structures and the importance of being your own financier when it comes to being an entrepreneur. A lot of people are not taught how to build a corporation correctly when starting out. A lot of the times, say for example, I have a t-shirt business, and the t-shirt business is based off of it's a clothing company. It's based off of spreading financial awareness in disadvantaged and underserved communities. But in order to start that business, of course, I would need t-shirts, I need vinyl, I need heat press machines, I need all that type of stuff. So what we do here at IE Experts, we teach people after we teach them how to fix the person credit. We teach people how to fish. We just don't deal with fish. We actually teach you how to fish and tell you why things are happening so that in the future you can self-correct before you get to that point, or you can fix it yourself. We teach people how to build their business using trade lines, how to get an 80 Paydex, how to get a DUNS number, because there's two different ways to get a DUNS number. You get a DUNS number as a U.S. contractor, as a government contractor, or you can get a DUNS number just as a regular business. We teach you how to get a DUNS number as a contractor. We show you how to basically leverage and network with government contracting agents and different people that will, like people from SCORE Business Mentors, that will help you to answer the questions that are hard as an entrepreneur. Like there's a few things. I actually spoke with a business mentor. I have a few business mentors, but I spoke with a business mentor the other week, and he told me something simple.
that, I would tell someone else, and it's like, sometimes you need to have somebody on the outside of your situation looking in to give you simple advice that will help you move forward. And, he told me, sometimes you can be, just to be candid, he said, sometimes you can get in the way of your own sale just trying to present too much to the public. As far as he was looking at my website, my clothing website, and which is, by the way, wisdomiswealth.net. We're going to be doing a special sale this month because it's Financial Literacy Month. But he was just giving me advice on how to just simplify things, and that's kind of how the approach that I'm taking when it comes to trade lines and getting an 80 paid X, a DUNS number. Connecting with the government so that you're able to do government business, because a lot of the times we get upset that people are not patronizing our business when we need to figure out how to go get business ourselves. And small business is the cornerstone of America, and the government in America actually rewards people for opening businesses and doing business with them. There was something in 1933 that Roosevelt signed called the New Deal, and part of that New Deal was the government signing a contract to do business with the private sector. The private sector is us, the entrepreneurs of the United States and the world. The small businesses actually create the bigger businesses, because what happens, for example, when I worked at the California Black Chamber of Commerce, we had these meetings called pre-bid meetings, right? In these pre-bid meetings, there will be companies there that are called primes. For example, one of these primes would be a company called Granite. Granite is a construction company, and it's a huge construction company. They get millions of dollars each year from government contracts. So what happens is, and this is what happens on a bigger scale. This is just like what do they call it? A microcosm of a macrocosm. So what happens is you go to these pre-bid meetings, with your company. Say you had a construction company. You would go to these pre-bid meetings and you would talk to these primes and get to know these primes, because what happens is the primes are the ones that actually get the big check from the government. They get the $100 million check. And so what they're supposed to do with the check is they're supposed to take the check and spread it out to get whatever project done. So say, for example, Granite does a lot of highway construction projects. So when you see those guys on the road with the cones and hard hats and they're directing traffic, and then you got the guys that have the hard tools that are working on the road, those could actually be three different companies. One company holding the cones and the flags, one company, directing the traffic, and another company that's actually doing the work. The prime hired those three companies from the money that they got from the government, and they kind of filtered it down. They took their administration fee, and then they gave the money to companies that they had the capabilities to complete the project. It works like that on every level for every different, not only for construction, for IT, for security. They have contracts for T-shirts. I just recently seen the contracts for the Army. The Army and the Navy put out contracts because they need PT shirts, physical training shirts. And the company, the Army, they needed over 1,700 shirts. And so that jobs like that get passed out to small businesses. So that is what our company is in existence for, is to spread the awareness that, hey, you don't have to just rely on the public to do business. You can actually do business with the government, and it's actually more lucrative because the government will give you contracts. Once you complete one contract successfully for the government, then you are looked at as trustworthy in the government's eyes, so you can continue to get those contracts as long as you show up and, to the pre-bid meetings and talk to the right person. Because really, it's not about the bid. The government contracting game, I like to call it, is about people.